right, so unfortunately, the New Orleans Saints were not able to hold on and take down the Philadelphia Eagles today in an absolutely dud of a football game. Long story short, the Saints offense could not get things going outside of the very first drive of the game and until very late in the game. The defense played out of their minds. But on top of that, there's a lot of injuries that unfortunately happened. So in today's instant reaction video, I'm going to go through all of the injuries. I'm going to go through all of my reactions, all of my takes, and just my thoughts on the game as the Saints lose a pretty disappointing game. You were on top 3-0 the entire game. You were leading in halftime, going into halftime 3-0. Tyrann Mathieu, interception in the end zone. Jalen Hurts, strip sack. Blocked punt 3 different times where the New Orleans Saints forced turnovers, and a few of those you had really good field position, and you were not able to capitalize and bring up points. Alvin Kamara on a 4th and 1, not able to get it. Was the spot bad? I don't know, and I'm not here to talk about that. Because at the end of the day, the Saints should not have put themselves in a position where they needed to leave it up to the refs to give them a good spot. So just a few injuries that did happen. Got to discuss them. Demario Davis, at the very end of the game, he was not on the field for that last drive because he was dealing with hamstring and groin tightness. So that's why he wasn't on the field for that final drive. Eric McCoy, your starting center, who has been the best center in the league, in all of National Football League, he left with an injury on the 3rd play of the game. So unfortunately, the New Orleans Saints were without one of their top offensive linemen and the number 1 center in the league for the entirety of the game. That's a big loss. You go into today's game without Taysom Hill, another big loss. You have Dallin Holker, you have Foster Moreau, you have Juwan Johnson. Really not much of a factor in today's game. Derek Carr, just all in all, I'm not going to sit here and say he's to blame, but he didn't have a great game today. 14 of 25, 142 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That touchdown, I will say a lot of credit. What a beautiful throw. Chris Olave finally found the end zone for the first time this season, which is big. Getting your wide receiver 1 involved as much as you can is really, really important. I thought today would be a game where you are able to get Chris Olave to 100-plus yards. Unfortunately, he ends the day with 6 receptions, 86 yards, and a long of 29. Now, I say unfortunately, still had a really good game, but in the grand scheme of things, you would have liked to see Chris Olave get a little bit more involved. Rashid Shaheed, 5 targets today, 0 catches. Multiple times, Derek Carr tried to go for that deep ball to Rashid Shaheed in the end zone. A couple of those were underthrown. Well, I'd say the first one, underthrown. Second one, great defense by Darius Slay. It happens. The Eagles have a good roster. They have a good football team. It happens. And as unfortunate as it is, the Saints fell victim to not being able to capitalize and take advantage of the situation and of the good field position. And again, I'm a big believer that we do not celebrate injuries on this channel, but you have to be aware and you have to take advantage of where there are holes. Saints weren't able to do that, unfortunately. No A.J. Brown. Devontae Smith left with a concussion in the last couple of minutes of the game. Smitty had a phenomenal game. Dallas Goedert was unbelievable. 10 catches for 170 yards. Those are both career highs for him. This game sucked, man. It was not a fun watch. I'm not happy with how the Saints played. I'm not happy with how the team went out there. I'm not happy with the game plan. I'm honestly pretty frustrated with how things panned out for this team today. But I also have to say, this is a game you have to have a short memory on. And I'm going to tell you why here in just a second. But first, got to give a big-time shout-out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is Game Time. If you like going to live events, concerts, comedy shows, and all sorts of fun stuff, you got to check out the Game Time app. And when you download Game Time and you use code CHATSPORTS, you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Game Time has a really cool feature, and it's brand new, called Game Time Picks, that makes getting tickets to see your favorite team play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only thousands of incredible deals. So that way, you can focus on the games and the seats that you want to see. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. So friendly reminder, download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS, and you'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply, but once again, download the Game Time app. Use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. What time is it? Game time. Now, it's also time to talk about why this team cannot afford to have this loss turn into multiple losses. So, coming up on the schedule, you have the Atlanta Falcons next week. I'm not a believer in that football team, but they beat the Eagles. I think that the Saints are the better squad, but they're pretty hurt right now. Taysom Hill can't go. That's a big loss. Eric McCoy can't go. That's a big loss. Oh, another friendly reminder. Cesar Ruiz, at one point, he got hurt. So Nick Saldiveri had to check in. So you saw what normally your offensive line is. Taliese Fuaga. You had Lucas Patrick, Eric McCoy, Cesar Ruiz, and Trevor Penning. From left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle. To finish the game, you had Taliese Fuaga on the left tackle. You had Oli Udoh at left guard, Lucas Patrick at center, Cesar Ruiz at right guard, and Trevor Penning at right tackle, which I wish I could sit here and say I'm really proud of the team for the penalties. Leading up to the last few drives, the Saints had one penalty for 5 yards. They finished the day with 3 penalties for 25, and none more costly than Trevor Penning blocking Darius Slay out of bounds, pretending to do his best Michael Orr impression in the Blind Side movie. Said, Coach, he was talking, so I needed to take him to the bus. I need to take him home. Cool. 15-yard penalty. Saints can't capitalize. It hurts. They inevitably go down and make plays, but that's a play that really hurts, and you cannot afford to give up. That's a play that leading into the end of the game, or going into the end of the game, is very meaningful and very important. So with Trevor Penning, sure, he did a lot over the past few weeks to give him more confidence, give him more quality reps. But in my opinion, you'll wipe away a lot of that when you do those stupid penalties. He's on the sideline. Throw your hands up and let him just fall. Like, he drove him to the bench. What are you doing? Why? It makes no sense to me. It really is frustrating because the Eagles had 7 penalties for 45 yards. You only had 3 for 25, and you could not make it happen. It's frustrating. It's upsetting. And you have every right to be upset. I have every right to be upset. People forget that fan is short for fanatic. The term fan is short for the term fanatic. And the definition of fanatic is somebody who is crazy, who's insane about something that they love. I'm crazy about this football team. I love this football team through and through. But today, the best way I could describe it, man, today's game is like, it's like your ex-girlfriend, where you're like, she's been so good to me. We have the history. We dated for so long, and she keeps pissing me off and giving me reasons to break up with her, but I still love her. That's how I feel about this team. It's like, you know what? Gives me 100 reasons why I should be mad at this football team, but right now I'm like, it sucks, but you got to brush this off. And gets me back to my point. You got to brush all of this off, and you have to refocus because the Falcons are looking to embarrass you. The Falcons are looking to prove you wrong. The Falcons are looking to take down a team that's coming off of a loss. Not to mention a team that they went and drove down the field in about 40 seconds to beat. The Saints cannot have a long memory with this. They have to be short-term. They have to be short-term up here. I still have faith in my team. I still have faith in my roster. I still have a lot of faith in Klint Kubiak. But today was not a good day. And I will say this. We all knew that they weren't going undefeated. We all knew that they were not going to have an absolutely perfect season. There's going to be bumps. There's going to be bruises. There's going to be hiccups here and there. That's the nature of this beautiful sport of football. With all that being said, you're still allowed to be pissed. You're still allowed to be mad because I'm through the roof. I'm upset. I genuinely do not know how I'm going to go home and just get through the night. I'm going to be mad for the rest of the night. It's okay. That is okay to be upset about this game. But we have to refocus. We can't sit here and say, well, all right, game over. Season's over. We suck. We're worse than we were last year. That's not the case. You had one bad game against a good team. The Eagles very well could win the NFC East. That is a very real possibility. The NFC East has not had a two-time winner in years. Or back-to-back winner, I guess I should say. The Cowboys won it last year. Took care of the business with the Cowboys. If the Eagles are one of the best teams in the NFC, like, we look at this loss in a few weeks and say, you know what? It wasn't a great game, but it's okay to lose to a quality team. I'm not trying to justify. I'm not trying to hold on to hope. I'm not trying to give a false sense of security or anything, but I am trying to say this. Saints unfortunately lost. I don't know who's to blame. The defense played great. Eventually, you give the ball to Saquon 50 times in a game. Eventually, he's going to break one off, and that's what happens. It sucks, man. I wish I could just sit here and just keep telling you how mad I am, but at a certain point, I'll just start talking in circles. So, Saints fans, I appreciate you guys for tuning into today's video. Just kind of recap the news. Eric McCoy left today's game with a groin injury. We're going to monitor that situation. Demario Davis was not in on the last drive because of a groin thigh tightness. So we're going to pay attention to that. Derek Carr on the last play, he hobbled off the field. Don't love to see that. Alvin Kamara at one point shaken up. And I will say this, looking at last-second updates coming from the team, Tyrann Mathieu has a couple really good things to say. I like this. Three things I want to tell you. Tyrann Mathieu to media today. Quote, "We will learn from this, and it's still early." I agree. I totally agree. He also said, "Adversity is a builder of life." Couldn't agree more. And lastly, he said, "We can't sulk in this game for too long." That's exactly what I was saying. Can't sulk in it. You have the Falcons next week. You have the Chiefs on Monday Night Football at Arrowhead the following. Get through this loss. Get over it. Get back to work. Get healthy. And let's go get a dub. Saints fans, it's okay to be mad, but what you shouldn't do is forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to turn on your noties. All that fun YouTube cliche stuff. I think the Saints are going to learn from this game. I think this is a game that you learn a lot about your team and you learn a lot about the players you have on the roster. So, Who Dat Nation, I wish I could just sit here and be happy, but unfortunately, the New Orleans Saints lost 15-12 final score at the Superdome. Really appreciate we had an insane day on the show. All 50+ thousand people who tuned into our watch party today. 87,000 people tuned into the watch party today. We crossed over to 33,000 subscribers, so I could not say thank you enough. You guys are awesome. Every single week in our live shows, you manage to outdo yourselves and prove that this is the best fan base in all of sports. So, again, Saints fans, get through tonight. Tomorrow's a new day. You'll wake up. Everything's going to be okay. I promise you, everything's going to be okay because the sun's going to rise. It's going to set. And then the following day, it's going to do the same thing. And then it's going to do the same thing. And it's going to do the same thing. And we're going to be here every step along the way. And we're going to be screaming Who Dat every chance we get. So, Who Dat Nation, I really appreciate you for tuning in to today's program. Y'all stay golden. We will see you next time.